This is The Basketball Show with Shane the Hammer Heel. What they gonna say next?
Hello and welcome to The Basketball Show, and we're brought to you by code Boost Mobile, throwbackstore.com.au, and I am not Joe Healy. But this is Matt Logue. How are you, mate?
Very well, thanks, man. No one is Joe. Very polished.
No coincidence that it was Melbourne Cup Day yesterday. Is there any coincidence, you reckon? She's pulled up crook today. No. But anyway.
She's sick.
We've got lots to talk about, mate. What about your boys in Boston? How they are on fire?
Playing well. Overtime loss against the Timberwolves the other day, but didn't shoot well. But it's loaded, the East. 76ers look like they're going well. Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. And the West, well, I still can't go past Denver. Like, wow, they're dominating.
It's been incredible. So many great games and some of the stars that are going off. We'll talk a little bit about that as the show goes on. So let's get into it. All right, the Perth Wildcats. Everybody in Perth, just a big, deep breath now. They win a couple in a row. Are they back, or is this just a Band-Aid?
I'm going to say a Band-Aid at this point. What I'm excited about, Shane, is that the intent is there, that desire, that chip on the shoulder. And I think thanks to Jesse Wagstaff, I'll be honest, like they let a 20-point lead slip in this game against Adelaide, and Jesse just gave him barrelfuls after the game, expletives, etc. But it's personified leadership, and I think Bryce is definitely back, Shane. I think you can see that with his performances, and you've got to give John really credit. Like he's made tweaks to the roster. Usher with the flex there, he's moved Usher to the bench, and I think it's worked. But long term, is it the
Mate, Cotton was always going to come back.
Of course, well, he's a champion.
He's a superstar. And the fact that Jesse Wagstaff came in, I called them Fantasy League team last week. But, they got rid of somebody like Norton that would have played a perfect role like a Jesse Wagstaff amongst the stars. I'm not convinced yet, but good to see him get a couple of wins. United-Wildcats foul controversy is what it says. A lot of fouls.
Too many fouls, Shane. I think it's the most free throws in league history in round 6
right?
as well.
For the entire round?
For the entire round, most in league history. Look, there were some horrendous errors at the end, and the NBL's conceded that. And we can. This one here with Delhi with the reverse layup. Obviously, there wasn't a pushing foul, but there was contact from Sarr. Look, I don't know what you think, Shane, but at the end of the day, the NBL's always been a physical league. I feel like we're on auto pilot here a little bit, and we're talking about the referees and the standard not being up to scratch and too many fouls. To be honest, there were too many fouls, but what's the answer? Like, there's a bit of onus on the players as well. Like,
there is.
D-Ruck said that in the commentary, and he's right.
Players have to be able to adjust, but there are too many. They want to take any physicality away to allow players to make more plays. No doubt about that. There's got to be a happy medium. Let's move on. 76ers and the Mavs are on fire in the NBA.
Yeah, as I said in the opener, I'm rating the 76ers at the moment. Big game against Boston on Thursday.
They can't compete long term, though.
I don't think so. As good as Maxey is, and Embiid has been terrific, I don't know that they've got the depth to compete with the Bucks or the Celtics when the whips are cracking. And in terms of the West, I like what I like what Denver's doing, obviously, but what Dallas is doing. Yeah. But my question marks on Dallas will still be there. Like respectfully, any team with Kyrie Irving, I've got question marks.
I don't think they'll be there at the end, but it's been exciting. Maxey especially, 25 points a game. Last 2 games, though, he's had double figure in assists, and that shows what happens when James Harden isn't there, sucking the life out of that team.
That's
and some of these other guys going to another level. The NBA All-Star, hallelujah. Hallelujah. They've listened to us for 2 years. We've been banging on. Has to be the USA versus the rest of the world. And I will finally watch an All-Star game again because it means something, and I hope the rest of the world absolutely kick their butts.
Absolutely, Shane. Like, let's be honest, the All-Star concept has become a joke.
Boring.
It's boring. That last year particularly reached a low point. There was no defence.
Nothing.
And like Jason Tatum killed it, and you're sitting back going, "Oh, how good is this?" But really,
it's not.
It doesn't mean anything. It needs to have meaning, and I think that USA versus Team World thing is really captivating. Because let's be honest, Team World owns the NBA. The NBA shifted, and the best players are from overseas, and I think that would add an element of the overseas audience. And if you're talking about a global broadcast audience and you're tapping in on that, well, I'm from a certain area,
The rest of the world wins this.
I think they do too.
How good would that be? Oh, world champions.
World
champions.
But seriously, they need to bring some meaning to it. So I think NBA, well done. Do it.
Yep. All good. WNBL, week 1, Canada, she was outstanding. And Aria McDonald over in Perth, 2 really good Americans. And shout out to Maylee as well. She's just doing Maylee-like things.
She's a rebound machine.
Amount of boards. What's your take from week 1?
Oh, I think that it's the Sydney Flames. Like, they've recruited really well over the off-season, spent a little bit of money, and I was a bit surprised with their first round loss, and I'm pumped to see their first home game against the Melbourne Boomers. It's a double-header with the Kings, Shane, and I think like the glory days, and I just hope the fans get out and watch it. But I'd love to see this team get results because I think it's championship or bust for this team.
Townsville, geez, people want to talk about other teams, but Townsville get it done again. Sammy Wickham, Kunick in the lineup now, they're all class. Even down a superstar import, and they're still able to get it done. So, yep, interesting times for the WNBL. And a big thanks to Boost Mobile for the hoops highlights of this week. At number 5, we go to South Carolina for Malaysia for Wiley with a little flippity-doo-dah-dee.
Plenty of Aussies over there too, should check it out.
No doubt, women's basketball around the world is on fire, but let's get to number 4, back home. Son of Bruce Bolden, the big one. Have a look at that.
That is beautiful. The big man has still got it.
Jonah playing some great basketball too. Expect some increased minutes for him as time goes on, but look at him fly to get that one done. Still in the NBL, we've got Usher from Perth with the dagger. One bounce right. Swadak couldn't make the free throws, Matty, but he made the big one right there.
Nailed the big moment, and it was fantastic TV. Look at this, the big flex and the Wildcats are back.
And who doesn't love number 2, Steph Curry, not only with the trifectas from downtown, but have a look at this little alley-oop, the right hand, just flipping it straight up there.
The great man, seriously, one of the best we'll ever see lace up a sneaker, and like he's just so good. Doesn't even look, and just whooshka, cheeky as all hell, but effective as all hell.
Incredible stuff. And now to your boys in the NBA, the Boston Celtics. It is Jaylen Brown. Have a look at the little up fake here. And then yam, right in the face of our French friend.
A poster on the Stifle Tower. That is incredible stuff from Jaylen Brown. Like,
he's playing some great basketball too. They are star-studded, the Boston Celtics, and what a finish that he has there. All thanks to Boost Mobile. That's our hoops highlights for this week. All right, time for the Logue Down, the best in the business. Matty Logue, busting all the big stories, mate. What do we got? The first one, Patty's Paris problem.
Well, he's not playing, Shane, at the moment at the Atlanta Hawks, 7 NBA games and no minutes. He's sitting on the bench. He's coming off a season at Brooklyn where he was down the rotation and he only played 41 games. He needs to play games. For Paddy and for the Boomers' sake, we need Paddy getting reps. We need him playing games. And my first question would be, is Atlanta the best spot for him? If not, where does he go? But the main thing is then it raises the question that, Shane, can we afford to have him as a starter at Paris if he's coming off an NBA season with minimal, if not many NBA games at all?
I mean, it's a good question. I mean, it'll be really interesting to see how he plays out. He looks after himself, so you know he's always going to be in great nick. I think the overriding thing is more, is it a great fit, Josh Giddey and Paddy in the backcourt? Defensively, it wasn't. I think Paddy's still going to play a major role, whether he's going to start. It may be better for Paddy having a massive punch off the bench that the Boomers didn't have at the World Cup. Maybe that's going to be a solution. Maybe that's what Paddy will embrace and Brian Goorjian will go with, to give us something different than what we didn't have when we certainly struggled at certain stages, and we certainly struggled at the defensive end at the World Cup. So maybe, bring in, a Josh Green or a Dyson Daniels or somebody like that and a younger brigade. Maybe it actually works for the Boomers.
Well, those guys that you mentioned are all getting minutes, and the motive here is that we all want to see Paddy playing basketball. Unfortunately, he's absolute champion. Delivered that the bronze medal that we've all been craving for decades. But the reality is he's not getting any younger, and time stops for no one. And we'd just all love to see him playing in the NBA, but reality is for the Boomers, does that work?
Yeah, well, interesting. We know he's going to play a major role whether he starts or comes off the bench, but certainly an intriguing question. The Coach's Challenge. Now, I've been big on the Coach's Challenge. I love it, and I love the fact that if you get it right and you go, you're wrong, ref, now I'm going to go at you again, and you're wrong, and the coach keeps it, I love it. But we saw a little bit of an issue in the United game.
Yeah, massively. Obviously, we'll go to the 1.8 seconds left on the clock. Matthew Dellavedova drives to the basket, reverse layup. It goes up. He gets the basket, but it's a foul, but it wasn't a pushing foul. So John Riley, Perth Wildcats coach, he obviously appeals the decision. He gets it right because it wasn't a pushing foul. But under the rules, and apparently the coaches have voted on how the Coach's Challenge is used, it can't be, there's no discretion or common sense. It's only on the on-court call, and that was a push. So if the ref says, to break it down, if the ref says it's a pushing foul, they go to the video, it wasn't a pushing foul, but it was a hands foul. They can't look at that because it was the on-call, it was a pushing foul that they were looking at. I'd like to think, and I know leading NBL coaches have told me they'd like it changed. So the discretion comes in and they look at it regardless of the on-court call and go, well, there is a foul there. Because that, let's be honest, I know there are a lot of fouls, 61 fouls, but that call cost United a chance at a shot at victory. Delhi, 99% will hit that free throw and they win the game. 99 is probably a high figure.
Well,
it's a high figure,
but he's probably going to make 80% of them. You're right. And I think at the end of the day, the good thing about the video review, that you just want to get the call right. So there shouldn't be a technicality in the call to say, yeah, well, it was a foul, but it wasn't a pushing foul, and you get the wrong result. I think you're right. I think they need to look at it, and they've done a great job of being able to adjust rules pretty quickly, Larry and the team, to do that. So they'll be able to fix that, and I think they should. Monday Night Hoops, we were discussing off air. How good is Monday Night Hoops?
Man, I love it. Like, seriously, I thought that game, despite the fouls, that Perth Wildcats Melbourne United game, it was captivating TV. The final seconds, as we can see here, it had been glued to the screen. And if you're a basketball fan or not, it was just good TV. Now, what I'd like to see, Shane, is more Monday night games. Now, I know sometimes Monday night doesn't work with the crowd in terms of, depending on where it's at.
Yeah.
But in the big centres like Melbourne and Sydney and even Brisbane, I think it works. And the NBL, they had over 900,000 social media engagements on Monday night's game.
Wow.
Now, that's decent. What I'm saying is I'd love to see Monday night return because, the block's over, Shane. The missus is not annoying you about watching that. And you need a sporting fix. And I think the NBL need to seize the moment. I'd love to see it.
Well, that's the balancing act. There's no doubt as far as growing the league and having eyeballs on it. Monday nights would be fantastic. Great when there's public holiday on a Tuesday, obviously, with Cup Day. But the problem they're going to have is getting bums on seats. So the owners with the dollars.
Be smart about the timing and the schedule.
You've got to think big picture, though. You're trying to get a big TV deal. You've got to get more people watching it. But good stuff. A lot to be able to discuss. Thanks, mate.
Pleasure.
And we'll see you next week. That's a Logue Down. Well, Matty, I'm excited about this interview. In depth, we're going way over west, and a big welcome to the Perth superstar, Kristian Doolittle. Welcome, mate.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Kristian, I wanted to ask about Jesse Wagstaff. He's a guy that's been around the traps, 450 NBL games plus, and he's speech to the players after that Adelaide win at home, mate, and you guys let a 20-point lead slip, and he was just so passionate. Talk to me about what that meant and take me inside that huddle. What does that say about a veteran like that, and how much has that helped instigate these two wins?
Helped tremendously. Going back into that huddle, we had we had a team meeting, and we were saying that we're going to win some games that might not be pretty. Our motto kind of, you could say, I've been winning ugly. As you said, we had a 20-point lead, and Adelaide was able to climb back into the game. And so, perfect world, we keep that lead, or if not extend it. But, we were able to withstand everything that they threw at us and still come out with the win. It's just, being able to stay strong in those crunch time moments is what he was preaching about. And having to keep that momentum going into the Melbourne United game. Being able to continue what we did, our effort that we showed for the first game, have to carry that over to the next game. And as long as we keep playing hard, that, we'll have success.
You've played all over the world, mate, and NBA everywhere, but Jesse, in terms of like as a leader, how does he compare? And what's your thoughts on him?
I've never experienced, especially playing with a teammate with this much experience. I've never dealt with that before. So, I've usually been the one on the team that's been, kind of the leader on the team, kind of, you could say. But it's refreshing to go into a situation to where that's already established within the team. I've always said Jesse's like a coach with a jersey on, by how much he knows and the experience that he has. And so, especially in tight moments during a game, having that extra leader definitely helps.
Mate, talk to us about your role. It looked like you started off a little bit slow, and a lot of people won't understand there are big adjustments playing from league to league, and our league is a little bit different in the way it's refereed. Take us through that, and then how you've been able to adjust and come through.
Yeah, there's always a grace period, especially going from country to country and understanding how the teams play, the physicality, the way the game is called, understanding where your spots are going to be for the team that you're playing for. I would say that this is by far the most talented team that I've been a part of, and so I wanted to come in and not necessarily diminish what anybody else was doing. Try to find my way and find ways that I can help the team be successful. And, for me, that's not always going to be scoring. I know a lot of people, hyper fixate on that. If he's not scoring 20, then, he's not doing a good job. But I feel like I'm such a versatile player that I can impact the game in a multitude of ways. Sometimes he'll be scoring like I did yesterday. Sometimes it'll be defense. I take pride in being able to guard the other team's best player. And doing the dirty work that not a lot of people like to do. And so, it was a slow start. Of course, for myself, I never want to start slow, but I had to understand that it'll take some time to be able to mesh with my teammates and get that camaraderie. As I showed up 2 days before our first game, and so having to learn the plays and getting accustomed to practices and travel and everything like that, but. I feel like this past 2 games were definitely a step in the right direction.
Mate, I mentioned the fact that you've played, in a lot of places around the world. What's your favourite place outside America and Australia, and why?
I would say Japan, because of the culture over there. I would say they have a great fan base as well. Definitely different because of the different culture and everything, but. I would say Japan because of just the surroundings as well. Being able to travel around Japan, I was fortunate enough to be able to do a lot of different things over there.
Kristian, as Shane said, the Wildcats fans are so passionate. But how good is it to have an owner in Craig Hutchinson he's active. You see him on social media. He's got a bit of a media profile, and even at the game on Monday against Melbourne United, he's courtside. He's riding every possession, he's really there to support you guys. How influential has he been in your short time there, and how good is it to have someone like that involved with the club?
It's always great to have an owner that you can see is clearly invested. He's not just the person who signs the checks for the team. It's great to on the field that your owner is definitely behind you, and so definitely supportive. He shakes all of our hand after every game. He says hi to us whenever we see him, and so little things like that go a long way.
Good effort. Good luck in the upcoming games, and hopefully you guys can get back on track and get back to those playoffs. So we appreciate your time, mate.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Well, fancy seeing you here, mate. Everyone's sick, and points made, you and I as well.
Steering the ship home.
We've got some interesting topics, though, because we've got DJ Hogg back for the Sydney Kings. He's one of my favourite players. I loved watching him for Cairns. I think he's a really important piece. He's going to be so valuable for the Kings this year. What have you made of his return?
Oh, sensational. Yeah, there was some doubt, the rumours going around that his shoulder was that bad that we may not even see him this season, but he's out there and he's playing unbelievable basketball. As we can, you see here, he can do it all. He can shoot, he can make others better. I think he's a perfect piece, and he complements this bloke, Jalen Adams. I think they work well in tandem.
Well, and especially with Galloway out, he still looks a little rusty. I think he's going to be so much better in the next month or so. And you have a look at his range. You can take it to the basket. He's got great size, high IQ player as well. But I think he's been great. What about some of their other imports? How have you seen them?
Yeah, look, I think while there's the upside with Hogg in terms of he will get better, my only major concern, a lot of Kings fans are talking about this, is Denzel Valentine. He's a guy that's got a lot of NBA experience, but just defensively I've got some concerns, and a few people have got some concerns, and turnovers. So I think that's an area where maybe that will be a bit of a weakness for the Kings, particularly if they're coming up against like Melbourne United in their fine form, or a team higher up, like as we've seen against Tassie. So that would be my big concern on the Kings. But other than that, I think they're tracking really well. They're second and chance for a three-peat. But yeah, Denzel, particularly defensively, is my concern.
The flip side of that is they've got so much depth. So
well,
when Galloway
their depth is the
comes
best
back,
in the NBL.
If Valentine's not playing well, then you're off, and we'll roll on to the next guy. So good stuff. One person I wanted to talk about. I mean, our long-term viewers will know that James Harden, I'm not a fan of him at all. And now, if there's a worse way to introduce yourself to the Clippers players and the fans, it's this. Have a look at this.
Like, I think the game, and I'm a creator on the court. You know what I mean? So if I got a voice to where I can, hey, coach, I see this. What you think about this? Then it's like, oh, okay. Like somebody that trusts me, that believes in me, that understands me, that I'm just not I'm not a system player. I am a system. You know what I mean? So somebody that can have that dialogue with me and understand and move forward and figure out and make adjustments on the fly throughout the course of games, that's all I really care about. It's not about me scoring a basketball, scoring 30, 34 points. I've done it already. So that's what I meant by that.
Mate, can you believe, can you imagine saying that you can't play, you just don't play in a system? I am the system. And waiting there in the locker room, you've got Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, you got Westbrook, all those guys going, oh no, they can't be happy.
It's the death of the Clippers. They're
gone. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Like seriously, wherever James Harden has been, it just hasn't worked. And that comment is like, not even respectfully, like that is, oh my Jesus. You just... Wow.
Well, Philly's better without him. They are so much better without
him. Up. Maxey, look what Tyrese Maxey's doing, and Embiid will do what he does. Like, they will be so much better without him. In fact, I think any team at this point, and it's a shame for the Clippers because I do feel like Kawhi Leonard is legit.
But how's it a shame for them? They were the ones who caused it. They traded for him. They gave up.
I'm saying I feel for the players, but you're right. Why would you give up? And what they've given up, as D-Ruck said last week, my God.
It really is incredible that they could do it. Then they're going to be shocked again. Oh, geez, we thought this would work a little bit better. We thought he'd be able to fit in with these guys.
And to be fair, give him some credit. Like last year, I thought at Philly in the playoffs, there were times in flashes where he showed some quality basketball, like his shooting and some clutch shooting. No one doubts
his quality, though. His ability is incredible.
Clearly, because you're not bigger than...
Well, when you think you're the system, it's very difficult to be able to fit in with Embiid and now with Westbrook and Kawhi Leonard and these guys that have been there. Westbrook's done a great job of being able to fit in with those other superstars and come there after not playing well with the Lakers. He's come in and fit in really well. So it just throws another curveball into what they've done as well.
Definitely. It won't work.
They can't win. The Lakers can't win it. Anyway, we move on. All right, time for SuperCoach. I'm still crying about Travis going out in the first minute of last week, but we've got the guru. Great to have you on board, Nathan Stremple. Even better to have your 1990s earpieces on as well, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Mate, I'm not on the big bucks like you. I can't afford the earpods, but I'm just checking in from Reflections Holiday Park here in Seal Rocks because Tom Hirsch is apparently sick, but I'd probably feel unwell if my SuperCoach team was going like his as well.
But we'll time the gloat, mate. You've done very well. You're right up there in the nation. Where are you placed?
I'm sniffing around the top 200, so it's been a good couple of weeks. Thankfully, I traded Huck Porty and Travers out, so obviously them both getting injured in the same play would have hurt people who had them in their team. Yourself, you did well. Good win against Derek Rucker. I think he's on too many podcasts to actually update his team. But as we look at this week, everyone's on a single, so it's a bit of a week to readjust if you aren't going as well as you'd like. Next week, 4 teams on the double. So you've got New Zealand, Cairns, Perth and Tasmania. So you're probably looking across those 4 teams, working out who you want from each team. Cairns, obviously, to start with, just an abundance of choice. So you're going with a cheapie like Taron Armstrong, McCall coming back in the lineup, or is it Miller coming back? Is he going to come back from that back injury? That's the one we're waiting to see.
Well, have we got any little sneakies like we did with Bannon? Because he's been unbelievable. He was so cheap, and then he's just been able to produce and play some great basketball and accumulate SuperCoach points.
Well, I just mentioned Taron Armstrong from Cairns. I think he's the one, a little bit like Bannon. He's a little slow his first couple of games this weekend, but you saw in the blitz, Taron Armstrong's a baller. He is going to load up on SuperCoach points and just be, in general, be a really good basketballer. Hard to know. We haven't seen McCall and Miller and Armstrong on the court at once, how that minute spread, but I think Taron probably starts for Cairns, and he's one to jump all over. I guess the other one, as you look at Bannon, might be Lamb from New Zealand. You can see that he can go, but it was actually that game on the weekend against the Kings where you really saw him put it together. And he's one with a low break even this week. Jump on him. He might make a bit of cash and load up on some points at the same time.
Mate, how much do we look at if you go to their profile and it says how much it costs per point? How much do you look at that when you're looking for value?
Points per minute or dollar per point, maybe. I think the key one to look at is the break even, and where you can see, like, if they're break even, it's like how much they need to score to then go up in cost that week. So this week, you've got a negative break even for Lamb at New Zealand, so that's one. Perth are the other ones to look at. Doolittle's just gone down and down in prices. He hasn't quite scored. He had a bit of an injury there to start the season, but in that cracker game against Melbourne United, Doolittle put it all together. He's now starting, bit of a double-double threat. So he might be one with Perth. I mentioned Bryce Cotton last week, though, was really low in value, and that might be the lowest we see him. He's gone up this week, and I think he's only going to continue to go up as Bryce looked to have his mojo back last week, and I think that's only going to continue going forwards.
All right, mate. Good advice, and well done again. You are the guru. Top 200 out of 23,000 people, and that's why you're on the basketball show.
Mate, thanks a lot. I actually haven't looked up the matchups this week. Who cares about where you're ranked in the nation? It's just where we rank head to head on the basketball show. So I'm looking forward to getting on the winners list this week.
All right, mate. Thanks for joining us, and hopefully at some stage Matty Logue can get his tips in and get a team together before the halfway mark.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
All right, well, before we go, we just haven't mentioned Melbourne United. Luke Travis, Huck Porty, Ian Clark, all potentially out this week. They've been unbelievable, but this could be devastating.
Yeah, we see the first incident here with Travis and Huck Porty. Concussion there. They'll treat that seriously. They're very good there at United. And Huck Porty went back into the action, but still, I think, pulled up lame. And then you got Ian Clark, who's the same hamstring as he suffered in the Blitz, Shane. So the throwdown on Sunday, and the Phoenix are firing. So
it shows how good they are, though. They lost 2 starters at the start of that game, and then lost Huck Porty as well. So still a chance to win, but geez, a big blow before a big game. But that's all we've got time for this week. Thanks to code Boost Mobile, throwbackstore.com.au. Hopefully we'll have a full house, and we'll see you next week.
This is a co-production by News Corp Australia and Closer Sports.